So, all right. So, by this point, we have talked about formula syntax. We have talked about cell reference types, and what else? We have covered common errors and auditing tools. Now it's time to shift gears, like, and talk about how to work efficiently. And to do that, we are going to cover three different flavors of shortcuts: control shortcuts, and function shortcuts, and alt key tips. And these are going to turn you into an absolute Excel productivity machine, guaranteed, because these we use on the daily basis, these shortcuts. So let's start with control shortcuts. So we are going to cover five that we use pretty much on a daily basis, starting with control arrow. So you can see here the first one. So now all this does is it jumps to the last cell in a data region in the direction of the arrow. So in the direction of the arrow, it jumps to the last cell in a, if you give control right arrow, then it will shift to the last cell in the towards right. So if you press control down, it will shift to the last cell towards down. So this is what this control arrow
Control
does.
plus arrow.
Yes. Now, when you add shift to mix control shift arrow, that does the same thing. It jumps to the last cell in the region. It just creates a selection along the way. So we'll see the each and every example for the shortcuts. Now, control home and end will behave in a very similar way, except it will jump straight to the home cell, which is the top left corner, or the end cell, which is the bottom right cell in a region. And just like control arrow holding shift will create a selection at the same time. Fourth option is control period. Now this one's a little bit more nuanced, like, but what this does is it allows you to jump straight to each corner within a selected cell range. So once you already have a large selection, it can be a little bit difficult to navigate to different portions of that selection control period. It is a great way to help you to do that. We'll see that how to do and all. And then finally, control page up, page down simply switches between your worksheet tabs, either moving to the left with page up or to the right with page down. So quick little illustration here. So let's say we have got, you can see in the right, there is the illustration. So let's say we have got this data range from A1 through G11. So you one second. Yeah. So we have a quick illustration here where let's say we have got this data range from A1 cell through G11. For you to use the control shift right arrow, if you use that, what will happen? It will just say from cell A1, that would create a selection extending all the way to G1 from there. So with that selection in place, so we'll see one example only. Why to just waste time? Okay. So we have come to the shortcuts tab. What you will see here should look familiar if you have taken my uh, so the first one is control arrow. So if you place, and what I'm doing is control, if I'm pressing the right arrow key, you can see it has brought me to the last cell of the right towards right. So if I bring the, if I from here, if I press control down, it had brought me to the end, the last cell of
Yeah, to
this
the
sheet.
left column.
Yes.
To the
So
right,
I think,
sorry.
yeah, you can check this on your own, right? You want me
Yes.
to give the demo?
No, no, that is fine. I understood.
Okay. Then we have function controls also. Even I think you can check this, right? With even this also you can
Yes.
do on your own, right? Okay.
Yeah.
If you see in anything which is not like you cannot do what I have mentioned here, you can ask me. Hmm?
This slide I did not knew that command T, command Y. So
This we will see.
okay.
Mm, so what it will do if you, no, this is for Mac. If you have MacBook, then this is you have to use. If you are using PC equivalent
Okay.
like Windows, then you can. If you press F4, it will cycles between cell reference types.
Okay,
Same thing
okay.
when
All
you
right.
go to, if you what you will do here, the same thing like it, they have just differentiate between Mac and Windows PC.
Mac and Windows. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So we will see the alt key tips now. So the last type of shortcut that we are going to discuss is called the alt key tip. So now alt key tips allow you to very quickly access tools from your ribbon menus and sub menus using only your keyboard, no mouse required, no clicks at all. So when you press and release the alt key, what you will see are these numbers and letters kind of overlaid. So if you let us go to the Excel sheet. So now I'm pressing alt and I will leave it. So when you press and release the alt key, what you will see in the, now it's not happening. We'll see that later. I think I've locked it.
We can do this later on, so we can discuss any other topic
Yeah,
if you want.
yeah, sure, sure. So shall we go to conditional statement?
Yeah, sure.
We'll go to
But
conditional
we have to
statement.
remember this that you have left this topic, so accordingly
Sure,
we
sure.
can discuss it
Yeah, yeah.
later on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. This has to do. This should work. One second. Okay, no, no problem. So if we had completed these shortcuts using Alt and Control and the function keys, by this time whatever we have completed, whatever we have covered this week, if you have practiced well, so by this time you can say that you have learned the work done by the developer. So I will tell you.
Okay.
So I would like to wrap up this intersection with a statement that might come across as little bit this thing. So which is that by definition excel is a full stack development platform. So it is a full stack development platform. Now I know like some of us are hearing this and thinking we're absolutely out of my mind. Like, see, we cannot consider excel as a full stack development platform, but still the thing is that rather than separating each layer of the development process, the data layer, the logic layer and the presentation layer, excel is a little bit different because it mixes and blends these layers all together within the same user interface. So consider this comparison. On the left side we have a stack that most people might think about when they think of full stack and for development or programming. And in the you have got your data or database tools, things like mysql. You might have tools like python or node or angular to deal with some of your backend programming tasks, and then you might pass those through javascript or html or css to actually render a user facing representation. So layer so we're just what but differentiating between the what is the full stack developer and what is excel, just to know that where you are as a excel operator in the technology. Okay. So what we have here are kind of three distinct layers. So you have got your backend layer here and your data and your logic, and then your front end presentation, which basically takes that raw information, the information from your database, and it renders it in a user facing, user friendly way. So now on the right side, consider this excel spreadsheet, much simpler. So this is much simpler. It doesn't look as exciting but what we have here when we think about it is a data layer. We have got a revenue and cost by month. So we have a logical layer, which is our formula that defines profits based on those values, and then we have some presentation layers where we render the results of our formula and visualize our data using a chart. So and what you can see is that all of these layers are kind of existing in the same ecosystem. They are blended together right here inside of the spreadsheet in interface. So it's a different approach to full stack development, but technically speaking it's accomplishing a very similar thing. So this is what. So excel is no less than a full stack development because it has logical layer, data layer, and it has a presentation layer also. So we can say that even we are the full stack developer if we once excel how to work with the microsoft excel. So now we'll go to conditional statements. So
Okay.
So now let's move on to some bigger and better things. We are going to talk about section 2, which is logical operators. And for those of of us who don't know what logical operators are, I would like to give an what brief introduction for the logical operators and all. So what is a logical operators? They're basically founded in the simple concept of an if then statement. So if I'm hungry, then I'm going to go to make a sandwich or a chapati. That's a logical thinking. That's a logical operator. So we are going to start with the anatomy of the if statement, what the formula syntax looks like, and we are going to talk about a nested logical operator so that you can test multiple logical statements in a single formula. And we will talk and an or operator and or two forms of the not statement, and then a handful of is this statement. So there are a whole slew of statements in excel. So we are going to talk about a number of them that I find most useful. And last but not the least, two files for download. And then we have got, okay, so we have got a hands-on demos and for each and every conditional statement, and for each logical operator. So let's move on to anatomy of the if statement. So this is the anatomy of the if statement, how it looks. So it is, you can think it as an anatomy or the syntax. It is relatively simple. You have got three components here, and of the formula, your logical test, your value if true, and value if false. So these are the optional. So you need not give all the three in one go. So uh, 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 one portion you will give any test that results in either true or false. First you will give the test or the condition statement. Then what if this condition turns true, then that value you will specify here. And what if this condition turns false, then that value will specify here. So your logical test is basically based on true or false. So you could say test that value of a 1 e- equals Google, or that numerical value in B2 less than 100. So see, if A1 A1, if A1 equal to Google, or B2 is less than 100, then you will specify yes or no. So like that, you can also incorporate more complicated formulas here. So if you could say if the max value in the column A is between 25 and 30 and so on, so forth, it's literally an infinite number of tests. You could put here next to, you have got value if true. This is what you want Excel to return or to do if your test to proves true. So you could just put a number or text string here. You could also put a formula, in which case Excel would evaluate that formula. If your logical test was true, and then as you might expect value of false, that does the same thing. So it's what you want
Okay.
Excel to do in the case that your logical test is false. So let's jump into Excel and do a hands-on on this. Uh, give me 1 minute. I'll open.
Yes.
Okay, we have a Excel sheet here, and we will work from here. So just give you a quick background of what we are looking at, what this sheet is for. So I would like to give a big background. We have got weather data from a station at say Boston Logan Airport. So this is some airport in the US. So we have got weather data from there, and because these are not a very, like you need not pay attention for the values. It is just for the learning purpose, because we have made up some of these numbers. So we have got la- latitude and longitude data, and yes, we have a date also, month, and what was the temperature, and the and precipitation in Fahrenheit and millimeters respectively. So on this date and month, this was the temperature, and this is the latitude on the and the longitude. So this is what this sheet gives. So, and from that basic information, we are going to be building out additional categorical version like freeze, climate, precipitation type condition, etc., using logical operators in the rest of this section. So we'll see. For this section, we're going to start with column I, the freeze column, and all we want to do here is so say let's create a flag or a binary variable that equals the yes if the temperature is freezing. In other words, if it is below 32 degrees Fahrenheit, like otherwise, it should return no. So we'll give a if statement that if the temperature is below such a value, then it should tell us it is freezing. If it is below a certain value, then it should say it is not freezing. So we'll do that. So we are going to take it nice and slow for the first time. Basically, image. Okay. Let me write a if function here. If, so you can see the syntax has came. So it is asking to give the logical test and value if true and value if false. So going arrow like so we want to give the condition based on the temperature. So my arrow will go to G2, that is 37, which is where my temperature field leaves the less than 32.
Okay.
So G2, then if less than 32, I will say if it is less than 32,
32.
yes, then I want our Excel to return. No, I need to input the value if true, like I need to surround it in quotes. I have to give S.
Yes.
It should be in the quotes, in the double quotes. If it is false, then I again have to
Then
give a
it is
comma.
inverted. No.
Yes. Yes. No. So so if I give enter, it will tell, it is telling me no, it is not freezing because it is not below 32. So if I click, if I drag this and if I double click, you can see. Uh, so for 12, if the temperature is 12, it is telling it is freezing. Wherever temperature is going high, it is saying it is not. So it has,
Yes.
yeah, evaluated the condition and it has given us the result based on that. So this is how you will write. And then so as you can see, when we double click the lower right corner of the formula cell and it is populated all the values down as far as there is data, which is exactly what we want. So now just kind of a spot check that is working properly. As you can see, we have some cases of missing here any values. Don't worry, that was intentional. We will deal with that momentarily. But based on the values that it
Okay.
do have 37 degrees is no, because it's above freezing 12. And this is how it is a it's all look good. So let's go to the next one. So what is we'll see how to nesting multiple if statement. So we'll look on, we'll have a demo on this nesting multiple if statement. So all right, realistically our test has been completed. We just walk through the basic if statement. Now we'll see in many cases we have to test that include a number of different criteria and a number of different potential values. So when that's the case, we are going to want to use nested if statement. The good news is that Excel makes it really easy to do this and we can do within a single formula. So and if we know the if formula syntax, then we know how to use nested if statement also. So let's look at the example before we dive into it. So basically we have another logical test here based on a temperature field in column B, but instead of just saying is if the temperature less than 32, yes or no. We are asking two questions. We are saying it is less than 40, if not, no, 1 second. Didi. Okay, so uh, okay, where were we? So yeah, basically we have another logical test here based on a temperature field in column B here, but instead of just saying if the temperature less than th- th- uh, 32, yes or no, we are asking two questions. We are saying if it is less than 40, if not, let's see if it is greater than 80. If not, return this otherwise value of false error. So in this case, we have three potential results as opposed to two when we and our first instance. So basically, the syntax should look familiar. So you start with your logical test B2 is less than 40. If that your value is true, so in this case if your test is true, if your temperature is less than 40, climate equals cold, it will return. Now here is the catch. When you get to the value false piece place, here is where you start your next if test. So this is the next if test when this is false. So when this turns false, you are our you we want our excel to go to next if statement. So next if statement, what it says, and basically what does this tells is it logically work your way from left to right through this formula and continue until you either find a test that evaluates as true, or you get a value where are your values of false value lives. So uh, it will continue to work till the false value. So it will come from the left. It will first check this test, and then it will go for if this is true, it will go for the next value which is true value. If it is false, then it will go to this one. So again it found that if is there, the again it will check for the false or the true value. So until and unless it will not come to true or false value, it will not close working on the if statement. So let's see the demo. So in this case, it's saying all right if it is to be less than 40, yes or no. If it is a call, like if it is cold and stop there. If it is not, we are going to move to our next if statement, which is where the temperature is, if it is greater than 80, it should return as hot. If it is not greater than 80, it should return as mild. So let's see in our Excel now the same thing. So in the climate section, we are going to work with column J, the climate column, and basically we want to do exactly what we just discussed now. So I want to create a nested if statement here. So let me write the if statement. So I have start with my equal sign, and then I have placed if. Then it is asking me for the logical test. What I do is if my temperature G2 is less than 40, it should return me cold, or it should evaluate another if statement. So if it is G2, if it is greater than 80,
80.
then yeah, it should tell me it is hot, or it should tell me it is mild.
Mild.
So then you will close two braces here. So you can see.
Yeah. It is less than 40. So
Hmm.
just
can
So
see
I wanted to ask this one thing that
hmm,
the way which we have used like cold, hot, or as many words possible we can write like moderate, mild, or so on.
yeah,
There is no
yeah,
limit, right?
you can write only two values, either true
Okay,
or
only two.
false. Yes.
Okay.
If you want more, then you have to write another if statement in this.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So if you, let's say, if you want to make it as, if it is in the range of 50 to 40, you want to tell it as moderate. So in the place of mild, you can say another if statement, and you can give it. Okay.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
So this is how. So next one is and or statement. So by this point, we have probably mastered our nested if statement, and which is fantastic. And the thing is, those statements which were still based on pretty simple. So if this, then that statements, those well. So what if we need to create a logical test that's based on a number of different fields or variable, as opposed to just temperature, for instance? It's like one great example of this is, if you wanted to create a field called precipitation type, and precipitation a type can take a few different values. Let's say we want to categorize it as snow, rain, or none. If you just think about it for a minute, there is no way to define snow, rain, or non based like on just a single field, because it is a function of two things: that temperature and the amount of precipitation. So if nothing is falling out of the sky, precipitation type will always be none. So if if precipitation is greater than zero, meaning so something is coming out of the sky, then the temperature is above or below freezing. So to understand whether that is rain coming down or snow coming down, uh, so that's where the and or statement come into play. It's when you need to include multiple logical tests that are based on a number of different criteria or variables. So just continuing on with the precipitation, on the precipitation type example, you will see that the syntax is little bit funky, like it can be little bit tricky to get used to from a readability standpoint. It might seem to make more sense to say if condition 1 and condition 2, then in this case excel kind of flips it, and it always starts with if and or, if or if not, and then list your criteria within. So we'll see the example for this also. So reading through this example here, this end statement, basically what we are saying is logical test here. One is if these two things are true. So if and d2 equal to yes, which that's our freezing column, which tells me that the temperature is freezing, it's below 32 degrees, and c2 is greater than 0. So precipitation is greater than 0, then precipitation type equals snow. Okay. Now if you remember the nested if syntax, instead of the value, uh, we are giving the if statement, and which is another if statement. This case we are saying if and so if it is, if d2 is equal to no, that is if it is not freezing, and if c2 is greater than 0, then it has to return rain. If it is if this is false, then it has to return none. Like now we are not getting anything from sky. So if it is freezing and even the c2 is greater than 0, then it will snow. If it is not freezing, if it is hot or mild or moderate, then if the c2 is greater than 0, then it will rain. So if it is this condition is false, then it should give us none. So we'll see that.
Okay.
So this is the C column. So this is the C column, this is the D column. So we'll see what is the precipitation type here. So we have the OR statement also. I forgot to tell you that. So OR statement, it will, if either of the condition is true, it will give us true. So what here is, if OR, it will first evaluate if, then OR, then it'll say if f2 equal to rain. If f2 equal to rain and or f2 equal to snow, then it should give wet or dry. So we'll see that also example here. You will understand better there. So what I will do, so we have jumped to our Excel and we will actually walk through these examples hands on. So in the precipitation type, so again I mean to use the exact same condition. So precipitation type is going to be the AND statement that's based on freezing, and precipitation so columns I and H. I on the based upon I and H, we will now give the precipitation type, then list. Okay, so I will write my if, I will give and, then I'll say if H2, sorry, I2, if I2 equal to yes, and H2 is greater than 0, then tell me it is no. Otherwise, tell me it is raining. So in our example, we have another if condition here. So we will give another if condition. So we'll put another if condition. If and I2 equal to no, then and also H2 is greater than 0, then it should give me rain or none. You have to close one, two, yeah, two braces. So it is giving us none. So what my condition was, if and, it will apply the and condition to whatever we have specified in this parenthesis. In this parenthesis, it will say if I2 equal to yes, it will check I2, it is yes, no it is not, yes, no, and then it will evaluate the second condition also. And H2 equal to it is greater than 0, no, these both condition are false. So then it will not give us no, it will go to the false value. In the false value, it will see, oh, I have got another if statement, so it will try to work on that. So it will apply and condition, whatever is there in the braces. It will say I2 equal to no, yes it is no, and H2 equal to and H2 is greater than 0, no it is not greater than 0. So it will say rain, it
Rain.
cannot be, no, because this condition is false. These both of the condition must be true.
Okay.
See, I2 equal to no, and H2 is greater than 0.
Zero.
These both conditions should be true, then only it will give rain. Since
Rain.
this is
Okay.
not greater than 0, it will give none.
None.
Okay,
Okay.
so we are having,
This is a bit complicated, I must say.
yes, what happened here? Okay, yeah, something went wrong. Something went wrong. No problem, I will write once again. If, what is that? If and I2 equal to yes, and also H2 should be greater than 0. Since it is and, it will check for both the conditions. Then it will give, then it should say it is snow. If these two condition is false, then it should go to another if statement. In that, we again we have an and. Here what I will say, if I2 is equal to no, and H2 and means it should, uh, then the next part of the condition also should be true.
Yeah, because we have mentioned and like both the
Yes,
parts.
yes, correct. So
Okay.
here I should get rain. If both the condition are false, then it should tell none. That
None.
we are getting neither snow nor rain. It is the sky is clean. So you can see here when we clicked on the right, on the bottom corner, so you can see rain. Why we have I2 as no, and even H is greater than 0, so at that time we have rain. When it is snow,
Yes.
where is snow? Yeah, here we have snow. We have I2 as yes, and H is also greater than 0, that is 160. At that time we will get snow. Okay,
Right.
so this is the nested if statement with and operator. So we'll see with the or operator. So for or operator, we'll go for the conditions. So what here will say in the conditions, we'll give the if statement, and we'll say do or operation on the values given in the parenthesis. So open the parenthesis. So I want to tell that k2 if k2 equal to snow, or in this either of the condition must be true. So k2 is equals to snow, or k2 equal to rain, then it should say wet. And if it is false, then it should say dry. If both this condition, if k2 is also not snow, and K2 is also not rain, then it should tell dry. If any of this condition, either if there is snow or rain, then it should tell that the region is wet. If you don't wish to use the internet, okay. Where I have been wrong here, okay, here I went wrong. I have to give two. So you can see that this PRCP type, that is K2 is neither snow nor rain, so it is giving me dry. If you see wet here, because the K2 is snow, it will
Yeah,
it is saying that
the way
K2
we have
is,
mentioned.
so it is giving me wet. Okay, if
Yes.
either it has rain or the snow, then it will give wet. If both of the condition, if both of them are not snow or rain, then it will give us dry.
Dry.
Okay,
Okay.
this is what the if statement with the or, with the and or. So now we'll
Yeah.
see the not statement.
Okay.
Okay. So we have discussed about and or statement will allow us to test whether condition A and B or either both true, or if one or the other is true. But what if we want to test if a condition is not true? Okay, we want to say that if this is not true, then give this. So in that case, we have a tool called the not statement, or using the not equal to operator as a means of accomplishing that. So here is an example where we want to redefine the conditions field based just on the precipitation column, in column C. So one way to do it would be to use the not statement and see if not C, say C not of C2, if C2 equal to 0, if C2 equal to 0, then it will give, then see, I will tell you. See, the result of this one will be 1. C2 equal to 0. Yes, C2 is 0. Then it will give 1. No, not of 1. Not of 1 means 0. Then it is false. Then it should give us dry. And you can either specify like this in the alphabetical manner, or even you can specify like this with the symbolic manner. You can use either of them in the Excel. So let us see the example of this. So we have already populated the condition column. So what we will do now, we will delete these values. So what we will say here, we will go with the not statement. So equals if h2, if h2 is not equal to 0. So I'm using the symbolic manner here. I'm not going to write not. So it should give us wet or dry. So see, if h2 is not equal to 0, then it should give us dry. It is, one second. See, this is if h2 is not equal to 0. And if this is true, then it should give wet. If this is false, then it should give dry. This is false because it is 0. So we are getting dry here. So then and next one is h2 is not equal to 0. No, in the third case, it is not equal to 0. It is equal to 109. So it will give us wet, which is true value.
Wet.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is what the if statement with the not. So the next is fixing error with if errors, like how to resolve the issues or resolve the errors if we get error in the if while working with the if statement. Okay, so we talked about the statement briefly. So I think it's worth revisiting here because it's especially relevant in this context. And it's really an excellent tool to eliminate an annoying error messages and replacing those with a value of your choosing. So there are a couple implications that the first is in context of just design and polish. It can be nice as a front end formatting tool, so or trick. So it can also be really useful on the data side and the back, and as you may want to categorize your data consistently whether you are seeing an error message or not. So or if it is a numerical field that you are working with and you want to be able to make statistical operations on that column of data, like sometimes having an end, having an and a value in there will prevent you from properly calculating those values. So we'll see with an example for this. So this is a formula or value that may or may not result in an
In
error.
an error.
Yes. So this is the value returned in the case of an error. So if you are having if you think that your if statement will give an error or not, so you can just uh, confirm that using the if error function, and you can give the condition here and see what if the value, what is the error message you are getting. Okay, so if you can see like if you think that the if you get an error message if it is very lengthy and you don't want that to be in your excel sheet, you can replace them that error message with the na div 0 ref and all, you can replace with them. So so we'll see one examples also. So one pro tip is like how to, like if you want the pro tip to work with the if statement in excel is, so here is just write your full formula first. Full formula, one second. Yeah, now first you write your full formula first, and then at the end your last step will be, or should be, your last step will be to wrap it in an if statement. So I'll show that. So in the excel sheet, let's go to the excel sheet. And if you recall with this weather data, and we're dealing with, we have got na here, you can see na. Because of this na we are getting na error for all. So how to deal with that, we'll see that, which is throwing off some of the formulas that we built out in columns. It is throwing off any error. So one by one I'm just going to wrap each of this in an if error and set a new value to replace any, and we will just apply it down and watch those error message updates. So in this case, I could assign either a no or a yes here. We can assign either a no or yes value, and we will replace
Okay.
this na message with the our own customized message. So in cases where I am getting an error but I don't want to, because I really, so I don't want them to appear, so what I'll do is, instead I'm just going to define anything within an error. So here in the formula itself I will specify that if so before this I'll write if error, I'll open the braces, and then I'll write. So I'll keep this. If error means it will see, it will evaluate this one. If it is true, so first what will say, if it is, it will evaluate this condition. If it is returning any value, then it will give. If it is returning yes or no, that then it will populate here. If it is giving other than this, like NA or any value other
Any
than
other?
yes or no, it should give us other in the place of that. So
Okay. It's error.
yes,
Other.
so you can see here other. Okay,
Okay.
so I can show you like this also, control shift. So what I will say, equal to if error,
If error.
yes. Then I want if statement, if error, if G2
G2.
is less than 32, then it should give me S, or
Yes.
if it is yes, if it
No.
is not, it should be this. And I will close the braces, and here I will say if it is not giving any of these values, then it should give me other value.
It should be give. Yeah, other.
Right. So now you can see that any error is gone.
Okay.
So wherever I think I have only one, I guess. No, here you can
Two,
see
three.
wherever there is a NA value, we have other. Okay.
Other.
So this is how you can eliminate the and you can fix the errors with the error messages.
Okay.
So let me see if the next topic completes within 2 minutes. Oh no, it will take much time. Okay, shall we close here?
Yeah, one more thing I wanted to ask is you are also
Yes.
going to teach me the thing where the Excel is in PDF form and then we have to convert it into the Excel. Like I have to try, I want to copy paste the data from the PDF. So this will also be teaching.
I didn't get. Oh, sorry. What?
Am I audible to you?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah, what I was saying is if I want to copy paste the PDF Excel to the
Huh.
Excel sheet, so
Huh.
is this also are you also going to teach me this as well, because this is also a very important thing
Yeah.
for me.
We'll see. So you want to convert the PDF to Excel?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. We'll
So
see.
the sheet is in
Huh.
the form of PDF, and I
Huh.
I want to convert it into the Excel book, into the Excel sheet.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
so that was, I also wanted to learn that thing. So I was just
Yeah.
asking if
We'll
you
see.
can teach.
Huh.